8 glasses of water a day, every day, for years, and her hands were still cold, her afternoons still wiped her out, and every test her doctor ran came back normal. Here's what nobody told her. Drinking enough water and drinking it so your body can actually use it are two completely different things, and after 60, that gap decides how well blood reaches your brain, your hands, and your heart. I'm Dr. Marcus Bell, emergency medicine, more than 10 years of it, and in that time, I took care of a lot of older adults whose circulation had quietly slipped into trouble long before the night they landed in front of me. The frustrating part is that in the ER, you manage the crisis, not the 20 years that built it. I almost never had time to say the one thing that might have kept them out of my department in the first place. So let me say it now. Today, I'm giving you 5 ways to drink water that genuinely improve circulation after 50, ranked from least powerful to most powerful. Number 5 takes 10 minutes to start. Number 1 is a combination I've almost never seen explained properly anywhere, and it costs almost nothing. But before we get there, I need 2 minutes on why plain water alone often isn't enough, and one warning for a specific group of you, because for some people watching, drinking more water is actually the wrong move. Here's the mechanism. Picture your blood vessels as a river system, from large pipes near your heart down to capillaries so narrow that red cells have to fold up single file to squeeze through. The inner lining of those vessels releases a molecule called nitric oxide. That's the signal that tells a vessel to relax and open. Plenty of it, and blood flows easily to every fingertip, every corner of your brain, every muscle. Too little, and everything backs up. After 50, 3 things happen at once. Your body makes less nitric oxide, so vessels stiffer and open more reluctantly. Your blood gets slightly thicker, so it doesn't slip through narrow vessels as easily, and your thirst signal fades, so you run mildly dehydrated without ever feeling it. A classic study found that when older adults were allowed to drink freely after being water deprived, they drank less than younger adults and stayed more dehydrated, even though their blood was more concentrated. The thirst alarm was simply turned down. That's not harmless. Researchers found that even mild dehydration caused measurably worse performance on sustained attention tasks. And thick blood is a setup for clots. A large study last year linked dehydration to higher stroke risk in older adults. Now, here's the part that surprises people. Plain water fixes the volume problem, but it can quietly make another problem worse. When you drink a lot of plain water with nothing in it, you dilute the sodium, potassium, and magnesium in your blood. Those minerals are the electrical switches that tell the muscle in your vessel walls whether to squeeze or relax. Dilute them, and the vessels tighten. Circulation gets worse, not better. I've watched patients do everything right and feel worse. They got worried about their health, started drinking more plain water all day, and came back with colder hands and more fatigue. Completely baffled. Before I give you the 5 changes, the warning I promised. If you take a water pill for blood pressure, a thiazide diuretic like hydrochlorothiazide, or an antidepressant in the SSRI family, or if you have heart failure or kidney disease, drinking a lot more plain water can drop your blood sodium to a dangerous level. It's called hyponatremia, and in older adults, it doesn't announce itself. It looks like confusion, weakness, and falls, exactly the symptoms you're trying to fix. So don't suddenly double your water intake. And before you change anything, ask your doctor or pharmacist one question. Given my medications, how much fluid is right for me? That single question is worth more than anything else on this list. For everyone else, the goal isn't more water. It's better water at better times. That's the whole game. Number 5. The simplest change, completely free, and most people are getting it wrong every day. When ice-cold water hits your stomach, it triggers a brief reflex that tightens the vessels around your gut and briefly slows circulation. In a 25-year-old, that's nothing. After 60, when your vessels are already stiffer, it's one more thing your circulation doesn't need, especially first thing in the morning. Room temperature water, around 70 degrees, is absorbed faster and doesn't trigger that squeeze. So if you start every morning with a tall glass of ice water or go straight for iced coffee, that's a habit worth changing, and the timing matters. Studies on hydration before movement in older adults show that drinking about a cup of room temperature water 15 minutes before you start moving, even gentle movement, produces meaningfully better blood flow than drinking during the activity or not drinking at all. Your body needs time to absorb the water and prime your vessels before you ask them to work. Drink while you're already walking, and the water hasn't caught up yet. Number 5 is this: room temperature water, 15 minutes before you move. It costs nothing, and you can start it today. Number 4 changes the chemistry of what you drink, and it costs pennies. To each quart of water you drink through the day, add a small pinch of real salt, not enough to taste salty, just enough to give your vessels the minerals they need to stay relaxed. A coarse sea salt or mineral salt carries traces of potassium and magnesium alongside the sodium. A squeeze of lemon or lime adds natural potassium and supports the vessel lining. A few ounces of plain coconut water stirred into a larger glass is one of the best natural sources of potassium there is. A controlled study found that water with electrolytes improved blood flow measurably better than plain water over a couple of weeks. The difference wasn't how much they drank, it was what was in it. One clear note: if you have heart failure, kidney disease, or difficult to control blood pressure, check with your doctor before adding anything to your water. For everyone else, this is about replacing what plain water washes out, not about adding to your overall salt intake. Number 3 goes directly at nitric oxide, and it comes from a flower most people walk past every day in the tea aisle: hibiscus, deep red, tart, sometimes labeled sour tea or roselle. The red compounds in this flower act directly on the lining of your blood vessels and stimulate nitric oxide release. Plain water does nothing for nitric oxide. Hibiscus does. This isn't folklore. In a USDA-funded controlled study, people who drank 3 cups of hibiscus tea daily for 6 weeks dropped their systolic blood pressure by about 7 points on average. In those who started with the highest readings, the drop was closer to 13 points. Pooled reviews of multiple trials confirmed the same range. 7 points doesn't sound dramatic, but across a population, a shift like that represents an enormous difference in strokes and heart events. The preparation matters. Steep 4 or 5 dried hibiscus flowers or a tea bag in just boiled water for 10 minutes with the lid on. Then let it cool to room temperature before drinking. Too hot and some of the active compounds break down. Too cold and absorption slows. The color tells you the concentration. Deep red like wine means strong. pale pink means steep longer or use more, 1 to 2 glasses a day. Number 2 is the one I'd most want you to send to someone you love who is over 60. There's a window each morning that most people don't know about. The first 60 to 90 minutes after waking. In that window, 3 things stack on each other. Your stress hormone cortisol surges to its highest point of the day, tightening your blood vessels. Your blood is at its most concentrated because you've gone 7 or 8 hours without fluids. And your platelets, the cells that form clots, are at their stickiest, thickest blood, tightest vessels, stickiest platelets, all at the same time. That is why heart attacks and strokes cluster heavily in the hours between 6 and 10 in the morning. And every one of those 3 risk factors is more pronounced and lasts longer in someone over 50 than in someone 30. Here's the good news. The very first thing you put into your body can push back on all 3 at once. Warm water with lemon and fresh ginger, taken within 10 minutes of waking, before coffee, before anything. Warm water immediately starts replacing the fluid lost overnight and begins thinning that concentrated blood before the cortisol peaks. Timing is everything here. You're getting ahead of the surge, not chasing it. The lemon provides vitamin C, which is a direct cofactor in the chemistry your body uses to produce nitric oxide. Run low on it, and your vessels can't dilate as efficiently even when everything else is in place. And the ginger. Fresh ginger contains compounds called gingerols and shoggols that reduce platelet clumping, working on a similar pathway to low-dose aspirin, but more gently, without the stomach lining risk. That anti-clumping effect peaks within about an hour or 2 of taking ginger, landing right inside that dangerous morning window. The recipe is simple: a cup of comfortably warm water, not scalding. Squeeze in half a lemon. Add half a teaspoon of fresh grated ginger or dry ginger powder, which works nearly as well. Sip it over about 5 minutes. That's it. If you're on a blood thinner or take daily aspirin, mention ginger to your doctor first, since you're stacking things that gently affect the same system. And number 1, the single most powerful change, and the one that almost nobody explains properly. Everything in numbers 2 through 5 nudges your vessel lining to make more nitric oxide the normal way. Number 1 does something different. It uses 2 completely separate backroads to produce nitric oxide that bypass the aging machinery entirely. The first backroad is dietary nitrate. Your body can build nitric oxide from food. Nitrate is abundant in beets, beet greens, spinach, and arugula. You eat the nitrate. Bacteria on your tongue convert it to nitrite, and your body turns that into nitric oxide. That entire path skips the tired lining enzyme completely. And here's the finding that genuinely surprised me. In a study published last year, researchers gave nitrate-rich beetroot juice to younger adults in their 20s and older adults in their late 60s and 70s. The younger group barely responded. The older adults had a real, measurable drop in blood pressure. This food pathway helps older bodies more than young ones. That's the opposite of what most people expect. Here's a warning that could cancel this benefit entirely, and almost nobody knows it. Because the first step depends on bacteria on your tongue. Strong antibacterial mouthwash can wipe out the very bacteria that convert your beets and greens into nitric oxide. I'm not telling you to skip oral hygiene, brush and floss, but if you're relying on vegetables for this benefit, think carefully about the harsh antiseptic rinse. The second back road is built into your own head. Your sinuses produce nitric oxide continuously. When you breathe in slowly through your nose, that nitric oxide gets carried into your lungs and into your bloodstream. Breathe through your mouth, and you bypass it completely. Studies have measured many times more nitric oxide in nasal breath than mouth breath. That's a large shift in your body's own vessel opening signal, from nothing more than which opening you breathe through. Here's how you stack them. 7 minutes once a day. Drink a teaspoon of beetroot powder, stirred into a glass of room temperature water, with a small pinch of mineral salt. Sipped slowly over 5 minutes. Then do 5 slow breathing cycles. Breathe in through your nose to a count of 4. Hold gently for 2. Breathe out through your nose to a count of 6. 5 rounds takes about 2 minutes. Sit wherever you're comfortable. 2 sources of nitric oxide, working from 2 directions at the same target. Best done 30 minutes before movement, so your vessels are open when you need them. Or at 2 or 3 in the afternoon, when circulation tends to sag and fatigue hits hardest. Now let me bring this to Carol. She was 69, a retired bookkeeper outside Kansas City, careful and organized, doing everything right. Walked every morning, ate her vegetables, drank her water faithfully. 2 years of being told she was fine. It was just age. Cold hands through the summer, afternoons that disappeared into fog. When she sat down with me, I didn't ask how much she drank. I asked how she drank. The picture came together in 3 minutes. Plenty of plain water, all cold, most of it late in the day, and every morning starting with ice water to wake herself up. I didn't change a single medication. I just changed how she drank. Warm lemon and ginger first thing. A pinch of minerals in her water through the day. Room temperature instead of iced. 6 weeks later, she told me the cold in her hands was gone. The afternoon fog had lifted. And then she said something I've thought about since. She said, "I read for 3 hours straight yesterday. I haven't been able to do that in years." Then she asked me why nobody had told her this sooner. The honest answer is that in a 15-minute appointment, nobody has time to sit down and explain the difference between drinking enough water and drinking it in a way an aging body can actually use. That gap is why I'm here. So here's everything in one place. Number 5, room temperature water, 15 minutes before movement. Free, and you can start today. Number 4, put the minerals back. A pinch of salt, a squeeze of citrus, or a splash of coconut water. Check with your doctor first if you have heart, kidney, or blood pressure concerns. Number 3, hibiscus tea, steeped dark red and cooled to room temperature, 1 to 2 glasses a day. Number 2, warm lemon and ginger water within 10 minutes of waking, before anything else, to guard the most dangerous window of your cardiovascular day. Number 1, beetroot water plus 5 rounds of slow nasal breathing. 2 back roads to the nitric oxide your aging body no longer makes enough of on its own, and the 2 rules that wrap around all of it. More water is not always better, and better water beats more water every time. If you remember one thing from today, remember this. The problem was never that you weren't drinking enough. It was what was in the glass, and when you drank it. Don't try to do all 5 tomorrow. Pick one, the one that fits your morning, or the one your body is already pointing you toward. One change you actually keep is worth more than 5 you try once and abandon. If I had to choose where to start, it's number 2, the morning drink. It takes 60 seconds. It guards the most dangerous window of your day, and the only thing it costs you is 60 seconds before your first cup of coffee. Take care of your circulation. It's the quiet system carrying life to every cell in your body, every minute of every day. It rarely asks for much. I'll see you in the next one.